Hello and welcome to On Public Square, a City of Clarksville podcast where we get to know the amazing city employees that help keep the lights on. They're our friends, our family, our neighbors, and each of them has a story to tell. Now, let's say hello.
Lavon, and I am with Neighborhood and Community Services. I have been with the city coming up in January 19 years. And so I think working for the city, what drew me to working for the city of Clarksville is just giving back to the community I live in. So yes, I am making a paycheck, but every department that I've worked in, and that has been several, I've been able to actually help the community. So I originally started off in the mayor's office, and I worked in the police department, building and codes, mayor's office again, and now I'm back to going to neighborhood and community service, which is my passion to really help those who are in the community that are low to mod income. So,
wonderful. So you've worked with a couple mayors.
Yes, I have.
And good morning, Michelle. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I've been with the city for about 7 years now. I started out with gas and water. I was young. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I was ready to get my career started, have a good job with benefits. So I got started there and I loved it. It was a fantastic job. I was on night shift though, which gets a little draining, especially the older you get. So I was looking for something new, but I wanted to stay with the city. And that's how I ended up with Neighborhood and Community Services.
You gotta tell them about you being the first at Gas and Water.
Oh, the female?
Yes.
I wasn't the first, but I was the only when I got hired.
Okay.
So what we're here to talk about today is, well, first, I hope to talk about this in a separate episode, but recently, Neighborhood and Community Services changed their name from, what was it previously?
It was the Office of Housing and Community Development, and so just housing and community development so many times got confused with the housing authority. So just to have some clarity and some actual separation of those two programs, the public housing and what we do, we rebranded to the Department of Neighborhood and Community Service, or City of Clarksville Neighborhood and Community Service.
Both good and important programs, but just very different work, and it's important. Changing the name, I'm sure, helps people get to the right people when they need to as well. But what we're really here today to talk about is lead poisoning and a great new program that the city has to help mitigate the dangers of lead poisoning, the Lead Safe Housing Program. This was a program I heard about from Lavon and a couple other folks down at CNCS a few weeks ago, and it's a great program that I think is going to help a lot of people. But can you guys tell me a little bit about it?
Okay, so first of all, lead poisoning, it really affects children, specifically under the age of 6. Their bodies are so small, they absorb lead into their blood at twice the rate of an adult body, so therefore they're a lot more susceptible to lead poisoning. And lead-based paint was used in a lot of older homes for the durability. It brightened the colors. It was helped with waterproofing, so it was used a lot in kitchens, bathrooms, the outside of the home, any areas that have a lot of moisture in them. And then, if you mop around the edge, it can be in that first foot of any of the walls in your home just to protect against mopping and general cleaning, baseboards, things like that, windowsills.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, it's homes built before 1978.
Yes.
Is when lead paint was outlawed. So if you live in a house before 1978, this is a very real thing that your house could have lead paint in it, which, as we've talked about previously, can have some pretty drastic side effects, especially for kids and pregnant people.
Right, exactly.
And what are some of those? Are there things people should look out for, like symptoms? Like if your kid is experiencing these symptoms, maybe this is a thing to get checked.
It's actually pretty broad what it
Mm-hmm.
can cause. It really affects the neurological systems. So it can be anything from
behavioral.
Speech issues, behavioral issues, headaches, stomach aches. It's pretty broad, and that way, you could think it's something else, but really it could be because of lead dust. And you might think it's just a cold or the flu or, a toddler being a crazy toddler. So it's really important to get those blood lead levels tested. It's a pretty simple blood test that all doctors will be able to do. I know our local health clinic and also the Matthew Walker Clinic do provide those. So that's how you can know for sure, either rule it out or know that that's the cause of any issues.
Somewhere Hugh Laurie, Dr. House, is telling someone it's not a stomach ache, it's lead poisoning.
Right, yes.
And I think it's important, just if you have a child under 6, that when you go to do your annual or well check for your child, that you ask the doctor, hey, can we take this test? It's just as simple as that. And it can prevent a lot of things, or it can bring awareness, especially if you know you're in a home, whether it's you own the home or you're renting the home. But if you're in a home that was built before 1970, I would just have them tested.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's not only homes that you live in. If you and your child, or you're pregnant, you live in a newer home, you just built your home, but you go visit grandma and grandpa or the aunts and uncles, and they live in a pre-1978 home. Just that small amount of time in a pre-1978 home with lead-based paint can be enough to cause harm to the child or the pregnant woman.
So that kind of establishes then what the threat is. What does the program do to help? You mentioned getting your home tested for lead paint. How does that work? What does a lead test look like? I guess they just take a chip off the wall and...
That's one of the methods. We would actually hire an outside third party that is a certified inspector and risk assessor. They can come in. There are the paint chips. If the paint is flaking, on the outside of the home or something, they can take a simple paint chip and send that to a lab for analysis. But of course, they don't want to damage paint if they're on the inside of the home. They think they might be lead. We don't want to scrape paint off of people's walls all the time. So there's actually wipe testing, and then there's a machine called an XRF machine, which is kind of like an X-ray for your wall. So they put it against the paint, hit the button on the scanner, and it's going to tell you what amount of lead is in that area of the wall. And there's a certain number of areas they're supposed to test. And then if there's areas like windowsills that are kind of difficult to put that XRF machine against, they can do wipe testing, which is just like a little baby wipe. They'll wipe the specific area, put it into a test tube. It's sent off to a certified lab, and they send back the results of how much lead is in that area as well. And then after they're done with all of that process, they'll put together a risk assessment and let you know which areas have the lead-based paint, how much, and if it's an impact or a friction surface like a doorway, high traffic area, a windowsill that opens and closes frequently, that can create that lead dust that can be inhaled or ingested from, a kid crawls on the floor, and then of course they put everything in their mouths. Mm-hmm. So they're going to get that lead dust in their mouths that way.
Having a kid on the way, I've definitely been thinking about I have to vacuum more. Dog hair is gonna just or stuff like that. Like we're repainting and I'm putting in all the safety plug things, and
fun.
I despise the doorknob covers. But
they're also adult proof.
Yeah, they in fact are. I am not coordinated enough for those.
I agree. With me.
I know, I'm the new guy. I get it. But no, so I imagine with that tech, this gets rather expensive. What kind of cost is a person looking at to get this test without the assistance first?
It can be very pricey. It all depends on what you're hiring the individual to do. So that would be a quote based on the firm, and also, say I only have lead in my kitchen. Mm-hmm. The rest of my house has been remodeled by a professional that's lead certified, but my kitchen has yet to be done. I can have someone come in and just test that one room, or you might have somebody testing your whole house. They can also test for lead dust in the soil. They used to have, I'm sure everyone's heard of leaded gasoline. There was actually lead put in gasoline to prevent the knocking of the engine and then the exhaust fumes from cars. If you live near a main street, there can be lead dust in that soil, and then your kids go play on their play set in the backyard and they can get lead poisoning from that also. So they can take soil samples. So it's all the extent of what you're getting tested, but it can be pretty pricey.
Like hundreds, thousands.
For the inspection and risk assessment, that would be several hundred, low thousands possibly. And then the abatement work, which is the actual encapsulation or removal of the lead components, that can be much, much more expensive.
My next question with that is, how long would that, is there a portion of that where a person would have to be out of the house? I assume abatement, they would have to like go somewhere for a time. What's the time frame on how long that takes?
It all depends. There is a 5-day waiting period where you do have to notify the EPA that you're doing lead work. So you have to notify them 5 days in advance of starting the work, also 5 days in advance of the clearance testing, which is what allows the family to come back into the home. There is a way that if there's just, one bedroom, an area that can go without being used, that they can seal that off and the family can still remain in the home and does not enter that area where the work is being done. But in most cases where it's in an area that's essential for living, like a main bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, the areas where the lead is, then the family does have to be out of the home for that work. So it's an expedited process. They try to get it done as fast as possible so the family's not out of their home. But most of the time, we would recommend that, they find a friend or family member they could stay with. But one of the great things that this program also includes is kind of a voucher to help somebody find a hotel room to stay in while the abatement work is being done.
That's awesome. I actually didn't know that. I was going to ask. So what, just kind of top down, what is the lead abatement program, or the lead safe housing program rather?
Yes. So all of the things is to prevent lead poisoning in children. So the qualifications for the program, it's for low to moderate income families. So families that could be susceptible to lead poisoning but may not be able to afford the expensive process of going through the risk assessment, hiring the lead certified firm, paying for the abatement. If you can't afford that, that's not something you're going to have done to your home. So we want to make sure that everybody has access to safe housing. So it'll be for low to moderate income families that fit the HUD guidelines. Pre-1978 homes that have a child under the age of 6 either living in the home or visiting the home frequently, and the standard for that is set at 60 hours a year or more. This includes homeowner occupied, also rental units. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm lost on this now.
And this helps pay for the testing. If abatement is needed, it helps pay for the abatement.
Yes.
And it helps with a voucher to stay somewhere if you need to.
Yes.
And this is in the form of a no interest loan, am I correct? With forgiveness options.
Yes. So the loan comes with a 3-year lien on the property that will all be explained to the homeowner or landlord. So you have to remain in the home if you're the homeowner for the 3 years following the abatement, and then it's forgiven at a rate of 33.3% every year. So say you're in your home for 2 years and then you get a fantastic job offer that's going to take you to a whole nother income level and you need to move for that job, but you just have that 1 year left. You can either pay back that 33.3% of the cost, or you can make sure that somebody that fits those income guidelines moves into the home that had the abatement work.
Interesting.
So it just has to remain available to low to moderate income families. And then rental units, same thing. You have a year lease, you move out afterwards. The landlord just has to keep it low to moderate income, meeting the guidelines, and then advertise that it's fit for families under the age of 6.
So if you're a renter, you would contact the homeowner or the person who owns the place you're renting to begin the process, or to help you begin the process?
Yes, or if they're not comfortable working with the landlord or contacting the landlord, they could contact us, let us know they're interested and give us the landlord's information, and we can contact the landlord ourselves.
But importantly, renters can still benefit from this.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. And we have this on the website. People can go apply, and the application, I believe, takes the form of a lead safe assessment that you can fill out. Typically, you can also call a phone number to schedule a pre-screen. And that phone number is, let me see if I have this right, 931-648-6133.
Yes, correct.
Wonderful. And if you want to find more about this, where can you go?
You can go to our website, our department's website, cityofclarksville.com, and go to the departments and go to Neighborhood and Community Services. You could also email myself or Lavon directly. Mine is michelle.klein@cityofclarksville.com, and then lavon.bracey@cityofclarksville.com. And yeah, call our office. We'll be happy to talk. We'll be happy to email. We'll be happy to come to your home and help you fill out the application. We're here to help. We want to help these families. We want to help these children. We want to prevent lead poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. So.
Well, I'll just say I haven't been with the city very long yet, a few months, but I've worked with you two and your department pretty extensively since I have been here. And I knew Lavon sort of through my wife previously, as her your daughter was in my wife's dance class that she teaches. Mm-hmm. But I'm just really impressed with all the work you guys do. CNCS works so closely with the public and on things that are such like immediate concerns. I'm always really impressed with how much the folks in your office care and are very active in not just endorsing these programs, but will go the extra mile to get people access to the programs that they need.
And I appreciate you mentioning that. And with that being said as well, Michelle and I are going to be out in the street, out in the community. So if you have a group, a club, an organization that you would like to have us come speak to that group about this program or any other programs we have, please feel free to contact us with those emails or call us, and we're willing to come out. If it's church function, if it's a meet and greet networking, Michelle just went to one last night, and we're just going to be in the community because that's what this is about, getting back in the community, letting them know what the neighborhood and community services can offer.
Well, anyways, I think that'll be all for today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.